Okay, grade 10s, we are back. Let's do some quick math. We are going to solve quadratic equations in this video. So quadratic, let's just have x squared equals to maybe 9. Okay, quadratic means that there's a square. So as soon as you see the x squared, as soon as you see that, this is a quadratic. And because it's a quadratic, you expect to find two solutions, right? So when we are done, we expect to have two answers. The majority of the time, there's two answers. That's not all of the time, right? Don't worry too much about what that means. For now, at least, we'll get into that when we get to grade 11 and 12. Right, so we expect to find two answers. This is a good habit. It's not the only way to do it, but as soon as you see your quadratic, I want you to put everything on one side and equate it to 0. So I want you to take this positive 9 and take it over to our left hand side. So we will have x squared minus 9 equals to 0. Okay, again, as soon as you have a square, x squared, I want you to get into the habit of taking everything to the one side and equating it to 0 as we have over here. Okay, so now when we look at what we have on our left hand side over here, that should ring a bell. Okay, because you have a minus in the middle, and this one over here, that is a perfect square. This one over here, that's a perfect square. So you know this is the difference of two squares. So we are going to factorize, and in order to factorize the difference of two squares, we make two sets of brackets, and we equate this to 0 because it's an equation equal to 0. And we have x and x, which is the square root of the first one. We have 3 and 3, square root of the last one. And then we have a plus in the one bracket and a minus in the other bracket. Right, so we are factorizing the difference of two squares. But because this is equated to 0, we'll take this one step further. So we know that this over here, this is maybe equal to 0. So we'll say that x plus 3, that is possibly 0. Then we'll say, or it could be that this one over here, x minus 3, is equal to 0. Okay, so let's just take a second quickly to chat about this line here. So what we are saying is we are saying that the product of two things, so this multiplied by this, is going to equal to 0. The product of two things is equal to 0. So if you have something and you multiply that something with something else, and you get 0 as an answer, one of those two things has to be 0. Okay, so either this first bracket is 0. If the first bracket is 0, it doesn't matter what the second bracket's going to be, because 0 times anything equals to 0. So once we have something like this, where we have two things multiplying, even three things, the product, and it equates to 0, we know that any one of those things that's multiplying could equal to 0. So that's where we ended up with these two solutions. Now let's just simplify these. So this plus 3, we'll take it over. We know we are subtracting 3 on both sides. So we'll end up with x is equal to minus 3. Similarly, this side, we are adding 3 on both sides. So x is equal to positive 3. Again, we said we expect two solutions. Here's the one, and here's the second one. So if we take these two solutions, right, and we're going to test our work now. So we take this minus 3 here, we go back to the original question, which was up here, and if I put my minus 3 in there, minus 3, if I put it in here, minus 3 squared gives me positive 9. So it does work out. Okay, and my other solution was positive 3. If I put positive 3 in here, positive 3 squared equals positive 9. All right, so both of my solutions make my initial statement true. So I am right. All of my work is good.